want to make a good impression, because that's how you'll move up onto these stronger rosters next split when they're looking to rearrange and potentially change their players. You want to make a good impression. And we are going into draft.
Yeah, we're into picks and bans. Talia getting removed from Hyperion. Tristana by Raziel Governors getting taken away. Raziel Governors have one of my favorite team logos I've ever seen. It's great. Zaya coming out from Hyperion. And kind of going back to your point on Dan XD in the top lane, his Poppy performance wasn't incredible. He went 0-2 on the first week. And on week 2, he went 1-4 on the Poppy. So maybe they want to put him on something else. But yes, it is a different scenario where he will be playing into Governor, who likes to play these tanks.
I think the issue with these two teams is that I think with a lot of their picks, you can't assume they may not have worked because the scores aren't great, because they've lost all 4 games. I don't think any of them had particularly great scores. And I think like Dan XD's he's shown he's confident in the Poppy and worth bringing it out. They do end up going for the Varus here, which makes sense, because I think one of the issues with EU Twisted Fate has been his champion pool, but he is confident the Varus and picked it up. But just to the point I was saying is that just because something didn't work against Misfit or Wind and Rain, against these top, or XL, these top tier teams, doesn't mean it doesn't work for them. And I think it's having the confidence to bring it out again. Let's say Dan XD, he had some rough games on Poppy, but being confident, this is a game I want to play. And I think that's the thing that needs to shine here, because these teams are both at the same level in the standings. Unfortunately, the bottom, but they should be pretty evenly matched.
Well, Varus getting picked up for Hyperion. Sejuani and Ezreal will be Raziel Governor's first rotation here. Yeah, formerly known as Kavoth, by the way. Oh, Kavoth. I'm always really bad at pronouncing his name. Is actually still the same player. Did change that last week, so we have already seen that on Sunday. Braum getting picked up by Hyperion here to peel away from any kind of openings, and already Dan XD hovering the Gnar.
Yeah, so this is a real sort of confident pick. Dan XD, I mean, a lot of people know Governor has been a tank player, so this is a confidence pick, thinking he doesn't have anything to challenge this. I don't think you could take a first rotation now against some of the other top laners, but Governor's going to rise to it, and he picks the Camille.
Okay, we didn't see a great performance from Governor last time we played Camille, but he's going for it. He's feeling confident, and like we said, Governor is one of those players who has been pretty consistent for this team. So we offer into ban phase 2.
And I think, this is a chance to prove yourself, because again, when he brought out Camille before, it was against Misfits, the current #1 team, undefeated so far, and you're against Shikari, who won the last ESL Prem split in the top lane. So yes, it didn't work, but he has the confidence to bring it out again. Dan XD's, played his card. He said, I'm going to play it now. I'm not confident you can rise to it. And Governor has. He stepped up to it. Seeing a Jarvan ban against Skeeden, that is something he had success on early in the split. And the Galio ban against Mystigan. This is something he's played a lot. I think Mystigan isn't necessarily the carry on their team. I think the ideal situation for Hyperion is a good matchup top lane for Dan, and then EU Twisted Fate on a hyper carry. So getting rid of that Galio means that maybe Mystigan has to stretch his champion pool a bit more and can't assist the bot lane with those ults.
Well, Tom Kench is available for Raziel Governors if you want to get a hand on that. They must just sneak through picks and ban, through ban phase 2, sorry. And I think that's not a bad pick for them to get.
Probably see a Taric, to be honest. Snugly
banned.
Taric. Oh, it is actually. Yeah, you are absolutely right, and they will come out of Tom Kench. So thank you for correcting me.
Which one of us is the color caster?
Yeah. Apparently, I can't see. So yeah, that makes very much sense. You can eat your Ezreal out with the Varus ult if he's caught off guard, and it's a really solid tank prick into the Braum. Snugly confident on these tank supports and gives a solid front line to Raziel Governors. Hyperion going for the Orianna. Safe blind pick, so absolutely makes sense for Mystigan. Does provide some shielding to EU Twisted Fate, and actually seen a Gragas jungle come out here from Skeeden, so maybe his champion pool getting a bit stretched by all these bans. We have seen 3 jungle bans, and obviously Raziel Governors taking Sejuani, so we'll pick up the Gragas, something that, haven't seen too much this meta, but still provides the role of a frontline tank. And then looking over, what is Vero going to pick?
Vero was hovering the Zoe, but he's going to actually go for the LeBlanc in the mid lane. So, first game on this team, and he's going for a statement piece. He has to snowball early, otherwise LeBlanc falls off massively. Where Mr. Gunn on this Orianna is going to have a very comfortable game where his power spike slowly curves upwards as you move later and later into the game, and his actual usefulness in a team fight is massively more superior than LeBlanc.
Yeah, I think late game team fights Hyperion definitely favored here. You know, Oriana, huge impact. Braum and Varus, so much damage. Erasure Governors, I really think they need to look for some proactive plays in the early to mid game. They have pressure mid with the LeBlanc. They have gank potential with the LeBlanc and Sejuani, and then they want to get a 1-3-1 ideally going with the LeBlanc able to split as well as the Camille, or even just a 1-4 and the LeBlanc looking for picks. They need to get this lead early if they want to snowball this comp, because it's not just that the LeBlanc struggles later in the game, but against a Braum, it's so hard to try and land a combo onto someone because he'll just block off of it.
The team fighting is just vastly superior for Hyperion in this particular matchup. It's going to be all about the 1-3-1 and all about the picks, like you said. Razor Governor's definitely kind of throwing the gauntlet down here versus Hyperion. Both of these teams are currently bottom of the standings, 0-4. And it really shows when you look at the numbers of the teams, how their play styles are. Razor Governors, even though they lose their games, have typically put up more of a fight than Hyperion. Hyperion have a combined kill as a team across all of the Premiership. They have 31 kills total, and they have 62 deaths, where Razor Governors actually have 49 kills, and they have 66 deaths as a team. So very close in the deaths department, but as you see, Racial Governors are at least answering back a little bit more. Their games generally go a little bit longer. They feel a little less snowbally. And actually, Racial Governors' game on Sunday definitely felt a lot closer than Hyperion's games, who did kind of just get hard smashed. I think it was really like a very close one. Jakamaka went 7-3 on the Ezreal, so he had a very good game on the Ezreal, and it did feel very confident for them. Where Hyperion got really, really hard smashed by M&M. On Sunday.
Yeah, and I think this sort of shows from the way they drafted play styles. Ratio Governors are a team who likes to get this early lead, and they've got a comp that facilitates that. Whereas Hyperion, you know, I feel like they very much want to get EU Twist Fate in the late game. He's a really strong hyper carry, AD carry, and unfortunately they haven't had the chance to do that yet because they've struggled in the early. And, you know, they've drafted in a way that they want to get to the late game again. Ratio Governors are a weaker team compared to their previous opponents, and so maybe they're hoping that they can survive the early game against them, because I mean, if you're up against the likes of XL or Misfits or Winter Rain and you're trying to stall out for late game, it's just not possible. They're too aggressive, too clean, too calculated. Whereas Ratio Governors, yes, they might be able to get an early lead with this comp, but Hyperion holding out that it won't be enough to close out the game.
And going on that point, Razor Governors actually have had some very good early games in the past. Their macro game going into mid-game has been a really big downfall for them, and they leave a lot of openings where they can get punished. But Hyperion are actually a team who haven't really got to the point where they can start relying on macro, just because they've lost their games pretty heavily. So if we see Hyperion actually challenge Razor Governors in this game, we get to then see how their macro develops as they move into the mid and the late game, how they're going to play around vision and the picks capable to them, because as we move later, like we said, it gets harder and harder for Razor Governors to actually find a team fight win for themselves, as they're all about the picks. They're all about just going for one person at a time, blowing that person up, and then maybe looking for the next one or the objective they can take afterwards. Yeah,
or, I mean, another situation, the split push. And Mystigan opted not to go for the TP here, and you really don't want your Oriana sitting in the side lane against the LeBlanc. And we will be going into game now. Hyperion against Razor Governors. Both teams looking to get their first win here in the ESL UK Prem.
A lot to play for. It's looking dire for both of these teams in the Premiership, and a win here would be a massive confidence boost.
That is to say that it is still possible for one of these teams to make it into the top 3 from their group, where they will have a chance to make it to playoffs. So still everything to play for here, and you can see that the teams are still taking draft very seriously, and going to win this one. Both teams just going for a standard defensive start though, and Snuggly playing some music for us as well.
On his bench is a disgusting champion, isn't he? He's really horrible.
I think he's beautiful, you know. I actually, one time when Tom Kench came out, I actually had an account I renamed to Tongue Fetish, and I said I would one-trick Tom Kench. There's a little tidbit for you.
Did you remember when Tom Kench got played in the jungle for like a week?
Yeah. Oh, do you remember when he used to get played top all the time? And he just,
oh god, it was awful. It was horrible. But
yeah,
fortunately, that's not going to be the case. He's actually running the Guardian as well. Not that augmented rune. Not augmented rune. Sorry, that's
Terminus, Glacial Augment.
That's the one, thank you.
Yeah, so
he's not running the slows. I've seen Phase Rush Tahm Kench as well, because you get the slow reduction. So if you beat someone, you actually can move really fast. It's horrible.
Yeah, if you buy Boots of Swiftness, you actually get 100% slow reduction when Phase Rush is active, and you can run full speed. Actually, I like the Glacial Augment normally because, well, not normally, but I like it in certain situations just because it means that once you land your first Tongue Lash, you can auto for another slow, and then you can easily get in range to get your last auto and a meet. But in this situation where you're against a Varus and a Braum, I don't think you really want to be walking up on them and eating them because they'll just get CC locked by the Braum. So playing more defensive and going for the Guardian. And see them getting shoved in here now, trading a bit back and forth with their poke, but
it's almost expected. But you get shoved in early on Ezreal, Tahm Kench into Braum, Varus. Your wave clear on Ezreal is really, really small. He's all about that consistent poke damage, but Varus is going to be able to clear these waves out nice and fast. Reshi and Skedden have found each other out. Body slam forward, and Reshi can just Arctic Assault over the wall.
Yeah, Gragas is, I mean, we haven't seen him much in meta, but someone who definitely has the early game advantage Sejuani, particularly since Sejuani's Arctic Assault cooldown got nerfed. He's live on this patch, though. Definite advantage towards him. Governor will go for a trade there, so clearly showing he's confident on this matchup and willing to trade back into Dan. He's 10 CS behind, though, but I mean, in a matchup against Snar, you do expect to fall behind a bit, and the wave is pushing into him, so should be okay here. But just as I was saying, Gragas isn't going to be as strong later in the game in terms of tankiness as Sejuani, but has a lot of early pressure that he's wanting to make use of.
I've also seen Reshi running that Aftershock as his keystone and not anything like the Fleet of Footwork, so actually applying the stun will be a little bit harder for him on that stage one. Is Governor slowly trying to even out that CS lead, but like you said, it's very hard in Snar early, especially like when you're on a melee champion like Camille. But when he did get on top of Dan XD, he did do a fair amount of damage.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing. He is unfortunately low on mana, which is going to hurt him a bit here, but went for a good trade there, but out of mana, so Dan's going to jump in on him.
Hyperprox coming through. That's actually a teleport coming out from Vero to start it off. The newbies coming in. He goes forward to the dissonance, gets the chain, the flash is down. That's going to be Gnar almost hitting Mega, and Vero's looking for first blood. He can't find it. And Dan's going to be able to walk away, but we actually have Reshi hanging about as well. Can't come in as Skedden is there to peel away his top laner.
Actually, Dan getting saved by, he is actually running help picks, so has the sorcery tree, not picks there, Airy, I believe. And so did actually get saved by the magic field he took in the second trade. I've forgotten what it's called, but you could see a bit of that magic damage from Vero got absorbed, otherwise he would have died there. Was extremely low on HP, so aggressive play from Vero, but burns both his summoners and ends up 9 sets behind. But not the greatest situation to be in. Has given a bit of an advantage to Governor here, equalized the lane slightly.
He's opened up an opening for Governor. As Governor has flash and teleport, he probably will just teleport back into lane as you see him doing that right now. But yeah, Dan now with no flash, with no teleport, isn't going to be able to make any action on the map, as Vero did burn both his summoners to get those, but he needs to be aggressive early on this LeBlanc, because if he just sits back on his laurels, Mr. Gun's just going to vastly outscale him.
Yeah, absolutely. And using your flash up, and you actually see Mr. Gun's taking cleanse, which is a very, very smart decision. Yeah, against the Sejuani and LeBlanc, means they can't chain the CC as easily. And he's just going to be happy farming away in the mid lane here. And you can see Skeeden is trying to facilitate him. Pink wards in the river and some coverage just to facilitate him, allow him to farm up. And this game is going in the right direction for Hyperion. Not much happening. Like CS lead, well, fair CS lead in top lane for Dan. And this is what you want.
Dan's just sitting on that CS lead. Again, it's been a very, very slow game. We've had a little bit of action in that top lane, but outside of that, everyone's played nice and safe. All of the games we've had today have had something on the line. This game is no exception to that. Razor Governor and Hyperion both want to get their first win in the Premiership and at least be in with some form of a chance to make it to the finals. As Vero's going forward with the chains, he's going to land them onto Mr. Gun. Just a little bit of pressure. Can't actually go for the kill as Mr. Gun has cleanse and flash available. Yeah,
good trading though. Vero hit all the chains we've seen so far, so props to him. Clearly confident that LeBlanc, and I think you need to be when you take a pick like this. He's strong in it early, but Reshi does go aggressive on Skeeden, but nothing will come from it.
Yeah, Skedden's going to be able to body slam his way out of that. Jakamaka's starting to suffer on the mana department. It's 6 minutes and he hasn't been able to back and get his tier yet. He needs to try and get it back in at some point, otherwise that will be delayed on that Manamune.
Ooh, dodges out from the boomerang. Good moves from Governor, but 15 steps behind. Oh, does go in for an aggressive trade. The shield comes up.
The hook shot. He's actually got the damage. He has the Hextech ultimatum if he wants to fire it out. Sweeping strike comes through, and Governor, recognizing that Dan's about to go into Mega Nart, decides not to commit for the kill. So very, very smart play. Also knew he was a little low on mana.
Yeah, goes for the aggressive trade, which I can completely respect. It did work out well, but then respects the Mega Nart enough not to continue.
I do like that from Governor. Played that very, very respectful towards Dan XD. A very, very slow game. Marginal CS lead in the favor of Hyperion, but it's only about 500 gold, sorry. No, 400 gold. Man, it's getting late. My maths are starting to fail me.
Pretty much all that gold is going to be coming from the difference between Dan and Governor. CS lead's closing a bit now that Governor has some alone time and Dan's recall, but looking at about maybe 10 after everything's said and done. And Dan will get back to the lane sooner, so looking to move that back up. Not huge, but these leads are significant in the early game. And
That's unfortunate. Skedden managed to get the blue buff. Denying that from Mr. Gun's big, as Viro's actually got his. So that actually could make for an opening for Viro on this LeBlanc.
It's actually big mistake. I mean, the first blue is important for Mr. Gun if you want him to shove out, because we've said Viro, we saw him trying to make an impact top lane with that TP, but he's not going to need his TP if you shove out with the blue buff and move. So, big mistake there. Shouldn't really be happening, but I guess Hyperion just need to move on from this. They are looking to scale in this game, so they just survive.
As long as there's no major action being pulled by Razor Governor for now, they're okay sitting on their laurels. As I say, that hookshot comes through from Governor and he's going to have to peel away. Flash explosive cast comes through as Governor is trying to get out. He's got himself a flash to boot. And he'll be okay as now Reshi has found Skedden. There is going to be a hookshot available in just a few seconds for Governor. There's going to be the ultimate. Hookshot comes down. Governor gets gnawed back into the wall. He throws down the ultimate. That's going to be first blood to Dan XD as Viro comes through. He manages to answer back, and now Dan looking for a double kill. Misses the boomerang blade as Viro manages to get it, but that's going to be a double kill onto Dan XD, and Viro now trying to find himself his own double kill. Has got himself a little bit of a speed buff as he gets on top of the scuttle buff, and Viro picks up a double kill answering back. It's a 2 for 1. 2 for 2. 2 for 2. Maths are good today.
Yeah, both those kills going on the LeBlanc though is pretty huge. I feel like Governor, I mean, I could see the idea he wanted to bait the enemy team in, and Hyperion did go a bit aggressive, but he ended up losing so much HP. And then when he returned in the fight, Dan was just able to slam him into a wall and finish him off. So maybe he could have played that a bit more defensively and waited for V-Row to get there, but both teams getting 2 kills. You know, this is what Hyperion won. They now have their Gnar in a good position to flip push, but this LeBlanc might be a problem. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle this.
I expect at some point to maybe see Viro just deal with Dan XD. He gets put in the side lane versus him, and then we'll have Governor versus Mr. Gun in another lane. But for now, staying pretty slow as Viro goes in with the ulti. Got the chains down. That's going to be the cleanse as he's looking for the shockwave. He misses it massively, and the red buff's ticking away. It's not going to be enough for Viro to be able to get that kill. And now Jakamaka's been engaged onto Snuggly. That's going to be the ulti thrown down. Dejin trying to get an opening for EU Twisted Fate, but he can't get the damage down, and just constant aggression as Skedden's hanging about. He does have explosive cast, and Jakamaka's hanging around in lane. There are no ultimates available, and Snuggly's just sitting on that ward to make sure Jakamaka doesn't die. 0 mana on EU Twisted Fate, and now we've got the ultimate coming through. Reshi's entered into the fight, looking for the damage. So EU Twisted Fate will fall as Governor's actually going to be able to answer it back. Viro's got the chains on the other side underneath turret. Good. Glacial Prison comes through. Going to look onto Dejin now as Viro gets his 3rd kill on the LeBlanc. They're tanking up as Reshi's juggling the aggro fantastically. It's a double kill, and it's 4 kills onto Viro's LeBlanc. Governor is the sacrificial lamb. This should be first turret blood for Raise Your Governors.
Really solid aggressive play from them. V-Row coming straight in with the TP. The team's working really well with him. We were questioning maybe having a new mid might take a bit of time to adjust to, but doing a lot of work here, and he's now 4-0 on this LeBlanc. Bit of a mistake at the end. Governor grabbed the aggro there, which meant he did die, but I'm liking the aggressive play with Rachel Governors. It's what they need to do to make this team comp work. And, you know, we just saw Mystigan lose both summoners to V-Row without using any from himself. And now the LeBlanc has 4 kills. It's going to be even more difficult. I think he's going to grab this wave mid, and then he should be able to recall and get his Gunblade. In return, though, Dan's going to trade for this top... Yeah, as you're probably saying.
We're making the same point. At least Dan's been able to pick up the turret in the top side. At least answer something back for Racial Governors, and gold still only 300 between both Racial Governors and Hyperion at this point. It feels like we're a lot later into the game than 12 minutes, but at the moment, Vero feels like he's just slotted into this team perfectly, playing really well around his team. Skedden's actually looking for a play onto Governor, going to be forced to hook shot away, and actually we might see a second turret getting picked up by Hyperion now.
Yeah, a bit behind on the tempo for the side of Governors, and as a result, they end up losing this tower quickly. Reshi is in the area, so it looks like they won't push further, but not a great situation, because Governors have now actually fallen behind in gold. I mean, Vero going aggressive, doesn't land a chain, first one. Something to say is that although the gold is, very close, you gotta look at where the gold leads are. Dan has a big gold lead on the Governor, which means Governor's gonna take longer before he can split pick against him. But in return, LeBlanc is 4-0. It's so difficult to play against that, so much damage, and he still hasn't recalled since that bot lane fight. Just to add another thing, 8 stacks on this Dark Seal.
Looking pretty scary at this point. Ocean Drake does get picked up by Hyperion for now. Vero looking to go aggressive though, but is in an unfavorable situation as Reshi's coming through to save him. Make sure he gets out okay. Look at the vision from Hyperion on that bot side. There are wards everywhere, dotted all around aggressively and defensively. There's not a lot of vision happening on the top side, where currently the action's breaking out as Vero is looking for the damage onto Dejin. Going to get the chains down, and that will be the 5th kill for Vero on this LeBlanc. And now this will alleviate a lot of pressure across the map. We could see mid lanes feel a lot of pressure as Jackamak is going to take down top side, and then we'll probably see some rotations about, a little bit of shenanigans.
Yeah, this is not what you're going to see. Yes, we said Hyperion do outscale, and yes, it's going to be harder for Governors in the later game team fights, but 5-0 LeBlanc is so difficult to play around. And you see Braum, one of the harder champions to kill, because he has that mobility, he has that unbreakable blocks damage, but just shredded with the really well layered CC from Racial Governors. Had the passive stun from Reshi locking him down, then the ult, followed up by the tongue lash and then chains Vero. Really solid play. They know what the comp has to do, and we've seen Vero now has finally based and picked up not just a Gunblade but a Lost Chapter, and it's on 10 stacks of Dark Seal, so very, very hard to play against. You can see Dejin has to be on Mystigan to help keep him alive.
This isn't unexpected from Racial Governors as well. They typically do have a good early game, as Vero is just going to interrupt and pick himself up his 6th kill. He is an absolute monster at this point. The Pinata comes through, and it doesn't actually quite land as Mr. Gun loses a lot of health to the damage of Jackamaka. True Shot Barrage comes down, and Jackamaka picks up his 1st kill on the Ezreal.
It's just, Varus was so deep into Hyperion's side of the map, and yet he's still vulnerable to LeBlanc, who just jumps through everyone and kills him. Really difficult for Hyperion to do anything about this, but I guess they need just stronger defensive vision control. They had a lot of vision on the bot side of the map, but they didn't have anything to see Vero coming there. And, if they want a chance at this game, they need to stall out a lot longer. Yes, they're only 2k gold behind at this point, but you've got to look at where the gold is, and there's so much gold in this LeBlanc. She's just going to be so difficult to deal with. And you can see Racial Governors have moved into a 1-3-1 situation. It's going to get better for Governor later in the game. Right now, he's not going to do great into Gnar, but this LeBlanc is so strong. Orianna's not going to be able to handle a 1v1 very well.
Rift Herald's still available to take for a little bit longer if Governor want to turn their eyes towards that. Here comes Vero though. He's gone 1v3. Look at the burst damage he's able to put down. Because he's got that Hextech Gunblade as well, he's able to heal up a little bit. Just constantly asserting pressure. And he's a whole level up over Mr. Gun at the moment, who's currently pushing out topside. Reshi's forming up the rest of the team, and there's 4 members mid for Racial Governors.
Yeah, and Braum was there to protect Varus. Even then, he got so much of HP chunked without the chains landing onto him. Really difficult for EU Twisted Fate, but he has picked up Mirkrez now. No doubt we'll get a Wit's End next because you need that MR against the LeBlanc. And as you can see, Jakamaka has picked up Triforce and is not sure what the stacks are in his Mirror Mana, but hopefully going to complete that soon because that is a huge mid-game fight for that Ezreal, which they need. Keep snowballing this game.
1-3-1 being played very, very well by Rage Your Governor for now. The only problem they do have is Jakamaka on this Ezreal's wave clear is minimal. So that is just kind of the payoff you take with Ezreal. You do have low wave clear.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing with Governor's composition, is that they lack wave clear completely across the board. So if they did fall behind early, it would have been difficult, but, you know, they haven't. They've managed to push ahead here, but they need to keep this going. We've said game is a bit on a time here. Once Varus gets some item, and Orianna does, but yeah, I mean, you've just seen how low Orianna was, and had to burn a flash against the LeBlanc. This is a threat.
Time to push. Turret's falling to Jakamaka. He's got the siege coming through for him as well. Currently sitting on about half HP.
Yeah,
they need to keep this tempo up.
They can just keep this pressure for as long as they want. I mean, the LeBlanc has a lost chapter, so she's fine on sort of mana issues, and she can just keep shoving in pressure again. And as a result, it just becomes easier and easier to collapse on the mid lane. And you can see Virao and Reshi are sort of in a position where they are threatening, but decide to back off and head towards the Rift Herald.
And if you look at the actual state of the game, if you look at how the warding's gone down, Skedden on this Gragas actually has placed a lot more wards than Reshi on the Sejuani. And it feels like Hyperion do have this higher vision score, but they've not actually been able to work around it. Constantly feeling the pressure from Governor, and they're just constantly looking for plays on the map and punishing any little overextension from Hyperion.
Yeah, and I think it also says that the numbers are nice, and yes, if your numbers are low, it's a bad thing, but I think the key thing is how effective the vision is and facilitating your carries, because the key thing is warding over walls. You see where the LeBlanc's coming from, so you can stay away from it because there's not many options here. She has now just based and picked up Umbrella Nomicon, so I mean, she was a big threat before, even bigger threat now, compared to Mr. Gun, who only has a Ruby Crystal on top of his Umbrella Nomicon and 0 stacks on his Dark Seal.
Now, we've been talking a little bit about the doom and gloom of Hyperion currently, but it's not all over. They're only down 2,000 gold. Most of that gold lead is currently sitting on Vero, who, as time goes on, will become more and more less impactful. Where Mr. Gun, if he can just get himself a couple of items under his belt in a team fight, is going to be able to offer a serious burst of damage for his team.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
While it looks all bad, they're equal on turrets. The gold's really not that too far ahead for them. It's only 2.1k ahead, so not the worst situation. But things like this, if Governor can pick up a Mountain Drake, this is the kind of thing that Hyperion do want to be stopping.
And you know, I mean, Governors do have a lead, but we saw this in their most recent game against Enclave. They got the lead there, and they managed to press the advantage for a while, but towards the mid and late game, they just fell apart. And this is what Hyperion are waiting for. They're waiting for an opportunity where they can use their engage from their Varus, from their Gragas, and they can get a good team fight, and that's all they're going to need. And with Baron up now, as long as they don't make a big mistake and let Virao get a pick, you know, I still think, as you said, they have a chance to get back in this game.
It is not done at this point. This is a very, very close game, and it's 20 minutes on the clock. Let's have a little look at the items that are starting to come through. Jakamaka's actually picked up a Triforce. Been a little while since I've seen a Triforce Ezreal. He's got that fully stat Manamune. So the Rage Blade and Wit's End being started up by EU Twisted Fate. Mr. Gun's got a Morella Nomicon and Sork Boots, but needs a bit more time before he's going to be impactful, because Dan can just solo out Governor. Snugly flashes forward to the Tongue Lash, and Reshi has actually found out Skedden. Now Jakamaka looking to try and find an opening as he's gone forward. Dan's ignited, and Dan's going to get gobbled up and shut down, and Snugly manages to find the kill. True Shot Barrage comes through, but it's blocked down. Now Vero enters into the fray, looks for a bit of damage, but he gets Glacial Fissured up and knocked in. He's back into the fight though. He's going to get shut down as EU Twisted Fate managed to get it. It's a double kill onto him as Jakamaka picks up his own double kill. Really, really solid team fight for Hyperion, but they do not shut down Jakamaka. 4 members lay dead, though.
Yeah, but I mean, Jakamaka
wants to even out this score, but Mr. Gun's chasing down the balls a little bit far away, and Jakamaka's damage is massive at the moment. He's trying to go 1v2, can't quite find these barrages. Ultimate is dodged away, and now he's safe to go forward. He's got the blue buff, he's got the damage. Mr. Gun trying to get it through. His vision is super low. Jakamaka can't quite connect the kill. Super confident.
Yeah, and just playing aggressive here.
Ultra Surprise! Oh no! Wait, will it kill him on the fountain? No.
Got away, but I mean, this aggression's going to pay off because Jakamaka's now going to take the turret here.
So the net gain is in favor of Raise Your Governor at the moment, but they haven't actually quite taken the turret as Snuggly's actually getting engaged on. Here comes Vero and Reshi to pull him out. Ulti coming, TP coming through from Governor, and Skedden is super low. Governor's gone in with a Hextech Ultimatum to pin down in place. He's going to get shut down by Reshi as the tower still remains. Finally gets taken down by Jakamaka, and they trade one and get a turret. Rift Herald's getting summoned in the mid lane as well, and this might be a hard siege being committed to by Raise Your Governors.
Yeah, and I mean, Oriana's so far behind it. Can't step up, and she lacks the wave in 1v3, so they'll lose that to that tower to the Herald, and they'll get some damage on the next fight. I don't think they'll be able to go through it right now. So I think Dan went over aggressive to punish Snuggly there, not respecting the fact that the tower there wasn't there to protect him. It was so low, and Mr. Good and Dejun were back in base. You know, it's just so back and forth. That team fight started so well for Hyperion. Dan getting the solo kill on the Governor was huge. Exactly what you need. And then the remaining team fight, yes, they didn't kill Jakamaka, but they traded 4 kills for 3. And when they need to scale, that's huge for them. But, you know, they overstepped trying to punish it. It's ended up being a 4.5k gold lead for Raise Your Governors.
This is something we've seen repeatedly out of Hyperion as well, where they find really good team fights, but then overstay and just get caught out with their trousers down. And then unfortunately for them, what looked like a really solid fight for them just fell apart as Jakamaka went 1v2 and managed to kite and fight his way to almost get another double kill.
Yeah, shooting
were able to TP in.
I mean, we've seen the Triforce damage come out. Clearly confident in this as you'll pick. Something that's been a bit hit or miss in other regions. Seen particularly in the LVP, it actually got its first win. It was 0-12 before that win received the other day. 0-12 in the LVP. So, you know, some people saying it's not too useful, but Jakamaka clearly making it work here.
Well, last time Jakamaka played it, he went 7-3. Did actually build the blue build, so he got the Iceborne Gauntlet. That was against Enclave. It was a game they did lose, however. So onus is on Jakamaka to make sure he can continue to hard carry as Governor still struggling on the Camille versus Dan XD, and this is why we're seeing Vero actually being sent down into that 1v1, and Governor's gone to deal with Mr. Gun. Now, Vero does need to be careful because Dan's damage is fairly big, as you're seeing the Hyper Proc coming through is going to get rooted up, closing in on the Gnar. Vero is a very slippery LeBlanc, and is going to be hard to pin out.
This is a difficult situation because you don't want Governor to get solo killed by Dan again, but Vero doesn't do well into Dan XD. He has now picked up from MR, he has the Merc Treads, he has the Spectre Cowl. So you have your 6-1 LeBlanc sitting in a side lane, essentially doing nothing. It's not the situation you want your comp to be in.
Rest of the team having a little hang around Governor in that top lane. Wanted to help him shove that tower in. If they can get that, it means they can have full aggression on that side of the map. Like you said, Vero having a bit of a hard time versus Dan XD. Dan XD is really strong with that Black Cleaver and that Frozen Mallet. It means he does have great sticking power. He's doing this Hyper Pop as well. He gets a bit of attack speed, movement speed, sorry. So he's able to chase down even more. I don't think Vero can die in this matchup unless Vero really overcommits. He's very mobile on LeBlanc.
Yeah, I think the issue, I mean, with his ultimate, he's fine, but I think the issue is because he gets slowed by the Frozen Mallet, he has to dip in, try and put some poke down and then dip out. There's not much more you can do. He has actually picked up the Void Staff now. That is something you very much need in that matchup if you want to put any damage down on Dan. And if you actually see the MR coming off across from the rest of the team, everyone apart from Mr. Gun quite heavy on MR pieces now, so definitely going to be useful for him.
And this is what we were getting at with Vero, where as we move later into the game, on the LeBlanc, he becomes less and less useful for the team. You saw he was in that last team fight and he was 6-0 and he still went down. And they lost that team fight. LeBlanc's impact in a team fight is minimal, as Mr. Gun actually has missed pretty much all of his shockwaves. Didn't even use it in the winning team fight for Hyperion. Tried to land it onto Jakamaka, who actually didn't even use an Arcane Shift, just walked it away. Cloud Drake will get picked up by Racial Governors. That'll be their second Drake. They've got a Mountain Drake as well to boot.
Yeah, and I think this might be the issue with sort of champion pool regarding Mystigan. He is confident on champions like Twisted Fate, Malzahar, Galio, but looks like we're going to get tight
out. Teleport coming through. That's going to be the first shockwave that's connected as the Abyssal Voyage has come in. Snuggy on his own, actually, as Jakamaka's trying to solo out Dan XD. Glacial Fish has gone down and Snuggy's forced to pop the Grey Health. He actually should be able to walk out. Two-shot barrage is there. Nobody falls in the team fight, though. And everyone's walking away with blinking health bars.
Yeah, so, I mean, Rager Governors try to go aggressive, but they do actually get punished over it, and Snuggly just making it out alive. Really solid CCJ, nearly killed him before he could get the great health up, but wasn't enough damage from either side to take anyone out. But if you're Hyperion, this is what you want. They didn't actually burn any summoner spells. I mean, bar the TP, which again is something very useful here, but they didn't burn any flashes on their side, whereas Governor's now without his flash, Snuggly's now without his flash, bit vulnerable on that side. And again, this just goes in the scaling point. Jakamaka is sitting on Triforce, Blade of the Runic King, and Mirror Mana, and this is his spike. This is where he's extremely strong, and he's only going to get weak at this point in the game, whereas Varus has now got his 3-item spike. Yes, Varus isn't the most amazing scaling champion in the game compared to most crit champs, but he starts putting out a ton of damage, especially when he's hitting tanks like Resh and like Snuggly.
The gun actually now taking a fight with Vero, and he just obliterates his health bar.
Wow.
LeBlanc's still pretty fed though.
Yeah,
maybe less impactful in team fights, but in 1v1s, Vero is pretty confident. Baron Nash is going to get started up by Racial Governors as well. Looking to try and pressure this objective down the rest of Hyperion, and nowhere near, so they're not going to be able to punish it. Have no wards on that side of the map. This is going to be easy pickings for Racial Governor. So they've now got Baron Nash to work with on the shove.
Yeah, this is a situation you only need to fall through on the pressure once, and they can just go for that Baron. I mean, Hyperion did such a good job keeping Mystigan away from Vero, stalling the game out, but I guess Mystigan just leapt up, stepped up, didn't have vision of Vero, and he one-shot him. And this has led to Rager Governors getting the Baron, which is exactly what they need. And you now have Governor on his 2-item spike. Don't think he's still in a great position to duel the Gnar, but because Gnar's going for tanky items now, Governor's going to be in a better position to start to scale.
Dan's coming in with a flank. Narbar's about to time out, so he's not going to be able to connect the Gnar as Snuggly gets explosive casted back. Glacial Fisher comes through, and they're looking for a bit more damage, but all looking for the Peerless. Governor's gone in with a hook shot, didn't quite make it connect. Hextech Ultimatum's thrown out, and the Shockwave also is gone. But Mr. Gun, on the back end of the fight, somehow manages to peel out. A turret falls in the middle of the team fight, but nobody yet has died. It looks like once again, Hyperion and Governor are just going to be able to peel away.
I actually really love the idea of the play from Hyperion. You know, Snuggly has no flash. They weren't grouped at the start of that fight, Rager Governor, so they go for the aggressive play onto him. Execution bit botched though. The ult from Gragas knocked Snuggly to the side, and as a result, Varus' ult actually missed, didn't connect, and meant he was able to survive. And then with the re-engage, Hyperion managed to peel away and didn't lose any members, but they lose enough pressure to give up that clock tower. But I do like the idea of the play. You want to go for an aggressive pick before Rager Governors gets the chance to set up this.
All of the turrets outside of the base for Hyperion fallen to Racial Governor. With this Baron buff, they've now been able to assert complete dominance on the map, and they're just going to force Hyperion to turtle for now. There's no objectives coming up, so Hyperion are probably just quite content trying to hold out for a little bit of time, while Governor are probably just going to look to get a base off and then look to try and group up for an objective, or they might stick to the 1-3-1 if they want as well.
Yeah, and you've seen Jakamaka's now picked up the Mix Scimitar. Not going to add too much to his damage, it will scale amazingly for like that, but the utility is huge. So hard to get a pick now. I actually wouldn't mind seeing something like a QSS come out from Snuggly, being that he struggled to survive many times just with the amount of CC being laid on. Not something too unusual to see on a Tom Kench, but he's going to go for some more tanky items here. But coming harder and harder for Hyperion to find someone to punish. They nearly got Snuggly in that previous engage, but his flash is coming up soon. And it feels like Rager Governors are going to be a bit wise to those tricks now.
He has that Locket, the Ice Solari, has the grey health, a lot of shielding to cut through, so you basically have to cut through 2.5 health bars of Snuggly if you want to actually pick him off.
Yeah, I think you have to kill him, CC chain him before you can get this grey health on is your best bet, but hard to do, especially when you have threat of Rager Governors with a 9k gold lead.
But the problem is you CC chain Snuggly and then you've burnt everything on him pretty much, and suddenly you've got Jakamaka and Vero just free firing away at you on the back. Jakamaka's doing a monstrous amount of damage. He's almost at full build. Still sitting on that Doran shield. Probably looking to pick that up into something else at some point, but for now he's quite content. Two-shot barrage coming through, going to get blocked up by the Unbreakable though.
Doran's played not the most effective item here. Probably would have liked to see him switch that out for a Vision Ward. More useful this game, but regardless, still putting out a lot of damage. And speaking of a lot of damage, Vera has now picked a Rabadon's Death. Huge amount of AP from that. Going to be even more of a threat now.
Well, looks like they're maybe looking for an opening as Snuggly's going to get caught out. Explosive charge and corrupting chains have gone down. Snuggly's flashed over the wall. Didn't get the time to punish as Vero also teleports in just to make sure they're not going to find an opening. And again, another engage comes through and nobody dies.
Yeah, I mean, Snuggly played well to get his flash off. I would have liked to see Mystigan use the Shockwave to pull Snuggly away from the wall. He managed to get right up against the wall, and as soon as he came out of CC, he could flash over it. If they did pull him away from it, probably could have been able to get a kill and relieve the pressure. But the effect of the pick was there. You know, Snuggly has to recall, Razor Governors have to reset, and they've relieved the pressure for a little bit longer.
Well, they managed to get double Mountain Drake now, so the next Baron Nashor that spawns will melt to the side of Razor Governors. Jakamaka finally sold that Doran's Blade. Let's see what he's going to pick up. It's the Last Whisper.
Yeah, going to be very useful for cutting through these tanks. We've seen armor items picked up by Dan. Geeden doesn't really have too much armor right now. We know this now is a threat. He was the person with the most gold on the side of Hyperion in the early game, and can actually still put up a lot of damage. He's actually just behind Vero on terms of levels. That's 17, second highest in the game. Vero now level 18, and nearly at 100 CS lead over Mystigan, nearly Flame Horizon.
Closing in on that Flame Horizon. Mystigan needs to be careful. Here comes Vero going forward. He's got the Sigil of Malice down there. It's going to be the Shockwave, and Vero just destroys Mystigan once again. Now having a fight as Jakamaka's looking for Dan XD. Corrupting chains have gone down and the rest of the team trying to peel away. True Shot Barrage is there, and now Snuggly getting engaged on, and Dan XD is going to be able to answer back. It's a 1-for-1, but Vero's on the flank. He's looking for the opening, but Dan can gnaw back if he wants. Chains are on, Governor's entered in. He's gone for the dive. Glacial Fish is there. That's going to be the explosive cast, forcing Reshi back. Good gnaw, only manages to catch Jakamaka, but he's far too far away. It's a double kill though for EU Twisted. He's looking for the triple kill. He's chasing down for more. They can't quite connect it, and once again Hyperion punish the Governor, and they only managed to leave one left for them.
Wow, impeccable play from Hyperion there. Mystigan, massive mistake getting picked out by Vero, but when he's that far ahead, really hard to do much else. But they don't even need him. Mystigan's still in 0 kill participation, and they get 4 kills that team fight, and just impeccable play. You can see how the 3 tanks positioned round EU Twisted Fate's Varus, and this is what we said earlier, you know, EU Twisted Fate on a hyper carry, getting later in the game, it's so hard for Camille or LeBlanc to get on top of him. And the other thing is Ezreal can't hit through tanks, can't fire his Qs through a Gragas, he's just going to soak them. And as a result, EU Twisted Fate must have got so much damage off in that fight, nearly picking up Jakamaka as well, who must flash away at the end.
Questionable back timing, actually. They've seen Skedden. He actually did base, didn't quite cancel that recall. Did cancel Dejins, though, which means he's actually could be in for a bit of trouble. Has got Mystigan he can hop to. But now, Governor can turn their eyes towards the Baron Nashor as it's just spawned, and Hyperion are all at base. On their way down as Dan XD has been spotted on a couple of wards. The rest of the team starting to come through. Baron Nashor's already been started up. Starting to lose a little bit of health, but the Glacial Prison comes through, and Dan's there. Shockwave only manages to land onto one, as now Governor's looking for it. Mystigan taking a serious amount of damage as Governor gets it. Glacial Fisher gets thrown down, it only manages to knock up 2. That's going to be EU Twisted Fate, gets himself a kill. He's looking for Vero now, as Skedden's taking a lot of damage. Twisted Fate is still at the back of the fight. Now he's going to pick it up as Dan XD gets himself a double kill. Snuggly gets locked down, and he's going to get dropped. Hyperion are finding some really good team fights now.
Absolutely, it just feels like they're a walking tank with EU Twisted Fate as the cannon, and he's just firing out with all the tanks around him protects itself. It just feels like a moving actual mechanical tank rather than just tanks in the game. And Dan will TP in because they're looking to secure this Baron. Reshi is up with Smite.
Reshi's there with Smite. He has got Jakamaka, who has a serious amount of damage as well. Getting engaged on by Dan XD. Now they're turning onto Reshi. Baron's been peeled away though. Twisted Fate needs to turn back onto it, otherwise they will lose that objective. Starting to lose a bit of health. True Shot Barrage comes through. Manages to clip onto 3 members, and Jakamaka is free firing away. The in and out yo-yo effects coming in from Raise Your Governor. Reshi is super low. Baron now she gets picked up, and Twisted Fate manages to get a kill with his Q onto Reshi, and now the death timer is 43 seconds for him.
Yeah, those blight stacks built up from on him just absolutely shredded him there, and EU Twisted Fate is doing work. He's now picked up the Cutlass, doesn't quite have enough of the Blade Rune King now, but but he's cutting through these tanks, and there's nothing that V-Row or Jakamaka can do. Jakamaka's still not dying in this fight. Can't touch EU Twisted Fate. If he moves close, he's gonna get locked down by tanks inside of Hyperion, and he can't land a Q through them. It's just impeccable team fighting from Hyperion, and this is what we haven't seen yet. Them getting to late game with EU Twisted Fate on a hyper carry. And you know, Governor's had a great early, but even though they're 5k gold ahead, feels like they're behind right now because of the scaling.
And again, Governor get themselves ahead in the game, and then it just feels like they can't do anything. Vera's hanging around on the edge, looking for an opening. Unbreakable will block the True Shot Barrage. That means it's down for the fight. Governor's gone in, looking for the opening. Glacial Prison gets thrown out. Same with the Hex Attack Ultimatum. Twisted Fate's down. That's going to be the end of the team fight for them, as V-Rose managed to shut it out, as Jakamaka now firing in. Goodnar comes back as Skedden now goes in with a 3-man belly slam. Snuggly is super low though, and V-Rose still fishing for an opening. Jakamaka's free firing away onto Dejin, as Skedden's got the Unbreakable, and V-Rose just cutting off their escape route at the moment. Goes forward, gets the Honey Fruit in. Now can't chase, as Jakamaka's still hot on the heels of Hyperion. Here comes the Abyssal Voyage, as Snuggly's delivered in. Another 2-man belly slam comes through, and they're still going for the fight. Dan peels back with the chains from V-Rose, enough for the shutdown. Skedden now can get locked out and shut down once again by Reshi. Now Dejin is on the run, and he is the only one for Hyperion who remains.
It looks like the reward will be Elder Dragon here as Raise Your Governors head towards it, and this is what happens if an AD carry dies in a Protect the AD carry comp. The comp falls apart. Twisted Fate wasn't covered by V-Row, managed to get the flank push him. Great engagement from Governor, all the attention went to him, all the peel went towards him. V-Row was able to get in and one-shot that Varus, and that's what they needed to have a chance of winning it. So now they have a 3-stack Elder buff, which is huge for them, and they've been struggling so much in these team fights.
Both Jakamaka and V-Row are having the games of their lives right now. They're playing fantastically well. Jakamaka still hasn't died in this 40-minute slugfest, where about 10 minutes ago we said Raise Your Governor look like they have won this game whole-handedly, but now Hyperion have had some life bred into them. They've still got this Baron buff for a little bit longer. They can start to clear out these waves. They've actually the only team in the game so far who've actually cracked the base of the opponents. Governor's inhibitor, lays bare in the mid lane. Lots of waves pushing into Hyperion from both top and from bottom.
I feel like they won't be able to make much use of that downed inhibitor turret, as Raise Your Governors are shoving the waves in. Hyperion don't want to fight them when they have this Elder buff. It's true damage burn hurts a lot, with 3 dragons stacking it up. So Hyperion are playing respectful, and look at that damage from Jakamaka onto the tower. V-Row going aggressive here, does get Mystic to half HP.
Does indeed, but Jakamaka is going to be able to drop the inhibitor turret in the bot lane as it just liquefies to the damage he's able to put out. Dan XD has now lost his Gnar, so he's going to be tired for a little bit. Not going to be able to go into Mega Gnar and get that big team fighting Gnar out for them. And now Hyperion need to just buy time, wait out this Dragon buff. Still has a little bit of time left on it.
Got about a third left, and they really don't want to lose a second inhibitor here. Will clean the wave here.
They have to go for the fight, otherwise they will lose this. V-Row's gone over the wall looking for Dan, who is ignited. Shield come through, so he should be okay to live through this, but Jakamaka gets an auto attack onto the turret, and you'll see it just get chipped through. Governor's gone in with a hook shot. Not actually going to commit for the fight, and second inhibitor drops. It's looking dire for Hyperion, who almost looked like they were going to win this game off the back of the team fighting. Dragon is just about to time out, so they probably won't be able to get another inhibitor with this.
Yeah, and I feel like Raise Your Governors here, they need to go back to the split push, because this, although they won that last team fight, I feel like it's too hard of a condition to go for it again. I feel like they might overstep here and get punished if they go for a team fight here, because the Elder Dragons are about to run out. I would have liked to see them maybe look for a split push, because V-Row is really the one who carry here. Jack and Mac is still going to struggle to get damage onto the Twisted Fate.
Misto Gun loses a serious amount of health. Bit of burn coming through. That's also the Chains of Corruption coming down. Hook shot from Governor. Decides not to commit underneath the tower. Dragon has now timed out for Raise Your Governor, and Vero's just pushing these super minions in to the side lanes. Mid lane currently crashing in, and EU Twisted Fate's going to have to deal with that. He can cut through these pretty quick with this attack speed build though. Dan needs to find an opening, but once again he goes into tired, so he's not going to be able to go back into Mega Gnar for a little bit more time.
But I think this is
big wave crashing in bot. Stepping forward, just constantly looking for these openings.
I think this is what V-Round needs to do though, is he needs to get some aggression in the mid or bot lane, because you force at least 2 members to come, because if EU Twisted Fate or Mystic come alone, they will get killed. And I think you need to spread the numbers from Hyperion, because as a 5-man unit they are very strong.
But EU Twisted Fate's been forced to deal with these minions in the bot lane, which means Governor can just turn their attention towards the inhibitor. Shockwave goes wide. That's big for Mr. Gun. It is on a relatively short cooldown at level 17 though. He's got a fair amount of cooldown reduction as well. But look at this wave that Vero's starting to walk in forward here. Mr. Gun can't clear it out in time, and that will be the 3rd inhibitor falling for Raise Your Governor, and Hyperion with their backs against the wall. A turret even goes down to the split push to Vero. Someone needs to deal with this LeBlanc, but he's just too mobile. He's just too irritating for Hyperion to deal with. And they're going to base and look for their last buys before they go to end the game out.
And this tower damage from Raise Your Governor is insane. They have 2 mountains and they have 3 Sheens on their side, the 2 Triforces and the Lich Bane. And it just means that LeBlanc gets an auto off from the turret, it just gets shredded. Really difficult position because Baron's up in 30 seconds. Don't think Hyperion can contest it. I think their only chance here is wait for Governors to try and push in. Look for an aggressive team fight that they can win, because right now all Governors needs to do is get this Baron, let the waves push in, and let the minions do the work.
It's really, really simple for Governor. Even if Hyperion can find another great team fight win for themselves, they can't really win off the back of it. They've got too many waves they've got to defend. Baron's going to get started out, and actually we're seeing Hyperion look to try and answer this. They're rushing on down. Jungle is there as well. It's currently on 2k health. Here comes Skedden. That's going to be Baron Nashor picked up. This is going to be the game-winning fight. It will make or break both these teams. Now Shockwave connects onto 2. EU Twisted Fate manages to find 1. That's going to be well answered back by Misto Gun. They managed to find a double kill onto EU Twisted Fate. Rishi's under fire, but Vero is pushing in for the win. The turret is so low. Dan XD is going to force him away, but with the Baron buff super minions crashing in, Dan does not have the wave clear. Vero's trying to step forward and trying to land the damage as Vero's forced to flash. Chains have connected and Dan is about to gnar out, but the tower's gone down. They can't deal with all the minions and Vero at the same time. Vero even gets a kill onto the Braum. They're looking for the end. Dan goes with the ultimate. EU Twisted Fate trying to get a kill onto Vero, but he can't make it connect. That's going to be the shutdown, but there's just too many minions.
I think they're going to be able to defend here. There is a new wave of blue minions that's going to be able to come so close. And Hyperion, you know, they go for the better option. They challenge them with Baron, and I don't think Governors expected that. They win their team fight, and yes, they lost another next tower, but it buys time for their inhibitors to respawn, and this is
respawning now.
Yeah, so
this is about to respawn. Top lane will be mid lane will be soon to follow. This is actually revitalized by Hyperion. They have no towers though. This is their biggest concern. They cannot leave top lane alone because that inhibitor did drop a little bit later. They need to team fight in their base if they want to win this game.
This is where Governors needs to have patience. Elder Dragon's going to come up with time. They have the power of split push. Vero can, if anyone's left alone against Vero, can take an inhibitor and lives single-handedly. So they need to play it slow. If they go for an aggressive 5v5, this is where they lose out against Hyperion's comp.
Almost at a 50-minute slugfest. If this game goes another 7 minutes, it will actually match the longest game in Prem all season. Vero speeding into that bot lane, and now inhibitor Baron buff still remains on Reshi, so they can siege all they want. E Twisted Fate trying to clear the waves out in the other side, and look at the damage onto that inhibitor. It is still standing. Now it finally falls. Dan goes in with the ultimate, doesn't actually quite connect it into a wall, and it looks like Vero's just backdooring at this point. E Twisted Fate's trying to deal with minions, but he can't deal with the LeBlanc, who's dodging and diving away. The backdoor's going to come through. Vero's trying to make it work, and at 46 minutes, Governor take down Hyperion.
Really solid play from Viras throughout the game. Knew he wouldn't be